Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs wants Indigenous Services Canada to stop obstructing access to residential school records. This comes after the release of a recent report by the Standing Committee on Aboriginal Peoples called Missing Records, Missing Children. The report found Indigenous communities have difficulty locating important documents on what happened to family members who died or went missing at the institutions. It highlights that some key records held by government and the Catholic Church, which ran 60% of the schools, are scattered throughout the country. The report says this goes against an obligation to release all relevant information. Witness testimonies at Senate committees say there are barriers on where to find records. And when records are identified, there are long delays in retrieving the information.
Part of the healing is so much needed of intergenerational trauma to our people is to be able to speak to it, and it's to be able to acknowledge and to be able to give it back. And so that whole process is it's missing, and it's important for our people to be able to heal.
Meanwhile, residential school survivors from across Ontario gathered in Sault Ste. Marie this week to talk about their experiences and to hear about the ongoing effort to find and recover the children who never made it home. Mike McDonald reports.
The survivors gathering was hosted by Garden River First Nation, which is preparing for a ground search of a residential school site in Sault Ste. Marie.
We thought it would be a great idea to bring all residential school survivors and projects together so we could get an opportunity to learn and understand the various steps that are needed to do the search for missing children.
The federal government's recent decision to cut funding for residential school searches was a topic of discussion.
That's not the path of reconciliation. It's when you do cuts like that, it's you support denialism of Indian residential schools. That's what it is.
Among the speakers at the gathering was the special interlocutor for missing children and unmarked graves, whose work has uncovered abuse at other institutions as well.
The Indian hospitals, the TB sanatorium, reformatories, homes for unwed mothers. These are all places that kids were transferred to from Indian residential schools and died at these other institutions as well.
Survivors have their own personal reasons for attending the gathering.
Getting the truth, the right truth about us as Anishinaabe people, and also how we survived, and all that information is very important so that we can teach our children.
I think these gatherings are important because not only for our future generations, but also it shows our resiliency to what we went through.
It gives us a lot of communication of different areas that First Nations are looking for, such as doing ground searches for the children who never came home.
This healing is going to be an ongoing thing for the rest of my life. I've been at it for 30 years now, and a lot of times I want to give up, but I can't, because they need to hear it from somebody that's been through it. I spent 11 years in Shingwak, getting hurt all the time.
We were not able to speak the language, and that kind of hurt us in a way to be able to carry on, carry on a conversation with siblings, and that are waiting for us back home.
Events like this and other events similar to this are part of what we call truth telling, and a part of telling the story to the general population, to bring the whole I guess the colonial history of what happened to us.
To reconnect with your brothers and sisters from those days, it's always a very emotional time. Very happy to see everybody, and lots of tears.
Find an outlet somewhere, sweat, healing circle, an elder, I spent a lot of time with the elders back home. So, don't stay stuck in it, and don't forget to live. That's my motto. Don't forget to live.
Meantime, work continues toward a full search of the Algoma University grounds, which was once the site of the Shingwak Residential School. Consultations are ongoing with experts and affected communities. Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Thanks, Mike. To the north now, and in just over a year, a third man has disappeared in the Northwest Territories and has yet to be found. Frank Rubin, who vanished from Fort Smith, and Ralph Beaulieu from Boundary Creek around Yellowknife. Now, 41-year-old Tyler Peterson of Hay River, who is the father of 4 Métis children, was last in touch with friends and family on July 3rd. Peterson is 5'7" and 160 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a camouflage t-shirt, blue jeans, brown shoes, and a blue baseball hat, and was last seen at the RBC Bank in town. Peterson's disappearance comes as the N.W.T. still has yet to solidify missing person legislation, which would allow police to move more quickly with their investigations. The family says there has been no formal search yet, but are waiting on RCMP to confirm they have enough evidence to believe Peterson is still in Hay River and didn't leave town.
The RCMP haven't done any searching so far because we cannot ascertain that Tyler was actually still in Hay River. They're not sure if he was still here, if he ever left town, or if he left the territory. They're working on confirming a possibility that he did leave town, so they don't have anywhere to search. 2 teenage sons and 2 little girls who have just started school, and they deserve to know what happened to their dad, or they deserve to have him back.
The First Nation of N.W.T. is calling for the government of Yukon to take immediate and robust action to prevent further contamination at the Eagle Gold Mine site. They want Victoria Gold, the owners of the mine site, to be removed from control of the remediation process. First Nation said in a statement that Victoria Gold has failed to follow government directions and that they've lost confidence in the company's ability to address the situation in their traditional territory. At a press conference on Thursday, the government said water samples taken downstream from the site showed the levels that significantly exceed guidelines for aquatic life. N.W.T. is also calling for an independent inquiry to examine the failures that caused the disaster to ensure it never happens again. According to a 2020 Statistics Canada audit, Indigenous peoples are overrepresented in provincial custody. Saskatchewan's Ombudsman is reviewing how well a provincial institution in Prince Albert is implementing trauma-informed practices and truth and reconciliation. Video journalist Rachel May has more.
Sharon Prochler is Saskatchewan's Ombudsman and Public Interest Disclosure Commissioner. In a news release sent out on Monday, she has become aware of significant concerns at the Pine Grove Women's Correctional Centre, where 90% of those incarcerated are Indigenous. There have been complaints about overcrowding, and there were 2 deaths earlier this year.
But Pine Grove is an institution that takes care of, and I say takes care of because there is a obligation to take care of those people who are in your custody. And they take care of the most vulnerable, marginalized population in the province.
Prochler is asking anyone impacted by incarceration at Pine Grove to contact her office. The last full review of conditions in Saskatchewan correctional centres was in 2002. Prochler hopes the investigation will reveal how to improve care and practices for those in custody.
So part of what we do is shine a light on various situations to make sure that everything that needs to be done is being done.
The investigation will look at how safe and comfortable people are in custody and how truth and reconciliation principles are being used for those who are incarcerated. For Prochler, it's about hearing people's real experiences to prevent institutions from repeating mistakes.
We're not therapists, but we do always think that there's a bit of healing in every interaction we have, because whenever somebody is listened to and heard, that does restore a part of themselves.
Starting September 1st, a new position of knowledge keeper, carrier, and elders helper will be added to the Ombudsman office to provide necessary support for those seeking help. When the investigation is complete, a public report will be released with recommendations for improvement.
There's a lovely line in the 2002 report that Ombudsman Tompkins wrote, which was, people are sent to jail as punishment. They're not sent to jail for punishment, which is an important distinction.
Those in or who have been in custody at Pine Grove can call a dedicated number, visit the website, write a letter, or request an in-person meeting with a member of the Saskatchewan Ombudsman Office to share their story. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
Time for a quick break, and then we'll bring you part 2 of T.R. Wheatley's one-on-one interview with columnist Tom Broadback. Stick around. Welcome back. He was accused of having a racist mindset by First Nations leaders and people for the negative columns he wrote about Indigenous issues a decade ago. Now, Tom Broadback is about to release a book in October called Treaties, Lies and Promises: How the Métis and First Nations Shaped Canada. Yesterday, we showed you part 1 of his interview with T.R. Wheatley, where they confronted his past. Tonight, Broadback talks about the need for books like this and how he plans to give back to the Indigenous community.
Tell me why that research was important for you, and I guess how it changed your racist ideologies?
You know, because we still have residential deniers and we have people that don't understand our history, and they need to see this stuff. I mean, they talk openly about wanting Indigenous people to forget their language. It's written down. I mean, it's in documents. It's not a gray area. It's not nuanced. You know, it's real. And we need to understand that as a province, as a country.
Do you confront yourself in your book from your past?
I do. And it was only after this all happened. And my publisher said, you know, what do you think about putting it right in the book, right at the beginning?
Yeah.
And I thought, man, that's a great idea, because I should have done it without being called out, and I didn't.
That's the good thing about the Indigenous community. They know how to rally pretty quick, and there was a lot of things said about you online. What was going through your mind?
My first reaction was to kind of be defensive a little bit, you know, and then I realized, and I talked to Kevin Chief a lot about it, and I realized, no, I've got to take responsibility for this.
Your book, is it about just the past only, or does it weave past, present, and future?
It does. It weaves all of them, and I write a fairly lengthy conclusion that tries to bring all of that forward, to try to give people an understanding of what happened after that. What policies did governments apply to marginalize Indigenous people, to dehumanize them, to try to eradicate them? I put in Stephen Harper's apology, I put in the Pope's apology, because they're important parts along the way. And people need to see that 150 years plus of evolution of what happened. I've written it in very plain language it's targeted for the general public. It's targeted for, it's a book you'll be able to read over a long weekend. It's not an academic book. It's not a scholarly book. It's 200 pages.
You know, you're writing this book about us. Are you giving back to us?
I am actually. I'm going to be donating 50% of my royalties to WASAC, the Winnipeg Aboriginal Sports Achievement Centre, which serves all Indigenous people, status, non-status, Métis, Inuit. And I picked that organization because I felt that they really do. There's a lot of organizations that do great work. But I like this one in particular because it's very grassroots, and it gets the resources to Indigenous youth, including outside of Winnipeg on remote First Nations.
Definitely a lot of the community are like, you know, where's he coming from? What's he trying to do with this? Is he trying to make money off of us? You know, that type of stuff, right?
Completely valid. I completely understand that. I mean, I expect it. I mean, how could I not, after the stuff that I wrote?
You know, when they were going around the country with the TRC, did you spend time at that? Did you spend time at the MMIW? Did you ever go to any of those and then still had the audacity to write? I mean, see it in person and then, you know, still continue with your words?
I didn't go to any of those hearings, but I read the report, and that certainly had a major impact on me. The report, the Truth and Reconciliation report, is very thorough. I mean, it's voluminous. There's a lot to read.
The power in words. Are you like kind of telling people to go attack the 231 calls for justice from the MMIW inquiry?
I do give examples of solutions like Nawi-Odina, which is really what treaty was all about. And I talk about the fight that Treaty 1 Corporation went through for 7 years in court to even have their treaty rights honored by the Crown, and they finally won in court, and they finally got land that was owed to them.
Do you think part of your journey is to also, you have a responsibility now to go back and talk to some of those Canadians who kind of have that same view that you used to have?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I'm hoping my book will help people change their minds and reevaluate. And I think what I'm doing right now in this interview, in my column where I apologize, and I'm going to continue to talk about it because it's going to keep coming up, as it should. And I'm prepared to talk about it. It's hard. It's a hard journey. Nobody said it's going to be easy. Nobody said reconciliation is going to be easy.
You can catch the whole interview over on our website, aptnnews.ca, or on our APTN News YouTube page. He is known as the Elvis of the North, and Ernest Monias played a free show last night in Winnipeg. We'll hear from him after the break. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. Today's picture comes from Mary Lee Brand, who took this photo of a relaxing sunset on the Black River in Prince Edward County, just east of Toronto. Thanks for sharing, Mary Lee. If you have any great shots from your summer evenings, send them to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be featured as our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at your Saturday weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, showers and 30 for Fredericton, 26 with rain in Halifax, 20 and showers in Kuujjuaq, rain in Nain and a high of 8, 31 with rain in Montreal, showers and 28 in Val-d'Or. The sun is out in Sault Ste. Marie with a high of 28, sunny and 30 for North Bay, 27 with rain in Thunder Bay, 32 and sunny in Elliott Lake. Cloudy and 19 in God's Lake, 21 under the sun for Norway House, 24 in Winnipeg and Brandon, 22 in Barons River, 24 in Regina, showers, and 25 in North Battleford, 22 with rain in Meadow Lake, 23 in La Ronge. Showers across much of northern Alberta, 23 in Fort Chip, 23 in Fort McMurray. 26 with rain in Edmonton, cloudy and 33 for Lethbridge. Sunny and 25 in Vancouver, sunny and 36 in Kamloops. 26 and sunny skies in Prince George, 28 for Smithers. 16 with rain in Old Crow, 20 in Whitehorse. 19 with showers in Yellowknife, rain and 20 in Norman Wells. 5 above for Sax Harbor, sunny and 17 in Inuvik. Cloudy and 14 in Chesterfield, 13 in cloudy in Arviat. 3 in Resolute, 8 in Joe Haven. The Eric Nielsen International Airport in Whitehorse looks a little different this week. That's due to a new welcoming sign courtesy of the government of Yukon. Designed by Nacho-Nayakdun citizen Justine Sanoa, the sign is Indigenous inspired, labeled Boreal Magic. It depicts the boreal forest and northern lights on a summer night and represents the healing energy of the Yukon. The sign is one of 9 new signs found at the territory's various points of entry, replacing the territory's old signs. Each one was created by a different Yukon artist. The government plan is to change the art on the new signs about every 5 years.
This art can be updated into the future to reflect other people's voices and stuff. So it'll become a moving and iterative sign project. So this is the first generation, and when it comes time to update them into the future, we'll be able to do it again, reflecting new voices, new visions of the territory.
Throughout the summer, the Sagiway Festival in Winnipeg has been helping put a bigger spotlight on new Indigenous musicians by providing free concerts for the public. The festival also supports current artists, including Manitoba's very own Elvis of the North, Ernest Monias, who performed at the Lyric Theatre. As APTN's Chris and Achkate found out, everyone had a special reason for being there.
At age 75, Elvis of the North and Cree musician Ernest Monias is still performing on stage for all of his fans. And no, he's not slowing down anytime soon.
No, still going stronger. And it's just a number 2, but I enjoy what I'm doing, so I don't think I'll be able to get off the stage until somebody pulls me off the stage. If I wanted to hear what you want me to.
Whether it's taking a selfie backstage or just getting up to dance to their favorite song, many in the crowd had their own heartfelt reasons for being here.
It's a Winnipeg Free Press article from 23 years ago, December 2001. He signed it to my mother at the time, and he just re-signed it tonight.
The King is a legend, and I think he's one of the the few artists that can draw a pretty big crowd. Tonight we're competing against Ludacris and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers game, so I think we probably could have had a lot more people if it wasn't for those two big events, but like I said, people love Ernest Monias, and it's put on an incredible show.
When Amy Gabosh's son Solomon Beardy was diagnosed with kidney failure in 2019, she says it was Monias's music that brought hope to their 5 dark years of recovery.
So every time we hear Ernest, we're there. I don't even know if he knows us, but he's gonna know us, so that's why we're here.
Now, with Beardy's second chance at life, they wanted to celebrate with who they call their King of the North.
I just turned 28.
Yeah, I just had a birthday.
I had a birthday yesterday. I turned 28. My family came over.
For Marlene Biggity from Puckatawagan, she and her mom didn't want to miss their very much loved family member.
My mother wanted to come and see her grandson, Ernest Monias, and on his birthday, my mother was actually on her deathbed and she couldn't come, and she survived. She's dealing with cancer right now, and she was able to come to this one.
As for Ernest, he's giving the fans what they want, with a new upcoming album and even a new book on the way.
Well, I've been writing songs, and I'm in the process of writing my autobiography. And concentrating on writing original songs, which I've got an original album coming out sometimes either October or November.
Creason Achkate, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
That autobiography will be a must-read. And Creason will have that full interview with Ernest next week on our midday APTN National Newscast at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That's all the time we have for you for this Friday. But for news anytime, visit our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward. Marcy McGuitch, thanks for being with us. Have a great night.